In this video, we're going to introduce you to a workflow that you can use to develop a grant proposal. In the information that follows, we provide some suggested timelines. Depending on the size and complexity of the opportunity you are responding to, you'll want to adjust the timeline accordingly. The writing guidance we provide assumes the following context. First, you have identified a funding opportunity. Second, you have defined what it is that you want to do, why it needs to be done, how you will do it, why it is important, and why your organization is uniquely suited to do the proposed work. Third, you have your team members in place for the proposal process. This includes identifying one or more writers and reviewers plus a budget lead. Fourth, your organization has evaluated the opportunity and decided that it is worth pursuing based on objective measures. These include things like having the time, resources, and knowledge to prepare a competitive proposal. Typically, this type of evaluation occurs in a go-no-go meeting. Fifth, you have a proposal schedule and created a cloud-based work site to allow for collaboration. The first step is to create a basic outline. The outline consists of main, or top-level headings. Usually, the funder will provide directions on the main headings, which correspond to the required proposal sections. Here, we've listed an example outline that includes typical proposal sections. If the funder does not require any particular format for the proposal, you may want to use something similar to this as your outline. The outline starts with a project or executive summary and an introduction, and then moves into the project description, including the project's goals, objectives, and activities. If you will be working with other organizations, you will want to describe what your partners will be contributing, and then finally, you might want to address the sustainability of your proposed project. The sustainability section is where you tell the funder your plans for sustaining the project after the grant funding ends. Next, in the project management section, you'll describe how you'll manage the project to ensure that it meets its goals and any specified deliverables. In this section, you could include an organizational chart, but you'll definitely want to include a list of key personnel, their experience, and their role on the project. You may also want to add a project timeline to show the funder when you expect to reach key milestones. For the last section, you might want to add a description of your past performance, that is, your organization's experience managing similar projects or projects of similar complexity or dollar value. The second step is to annotate your outline. After you have the basic structure of your proposal, you'll need to add details about what each section should cover. First, you'll want to add prompts from the solicitation to remind you of any important requirements. For example, the solicitation may state that the executive summary should summarize the entire project and clearly state the project's expected impact. You can add the information directly into the document, for example, beneath the headings, or enter the information as comments. Second, go through the outline again, this time adding details about the content you intend to include in each section and its presentation. In the management and staffing section, this might take the form of listing the names of the staff who will need to be profiled and how this information should be presented, such as in paragraph form or in a table. Lastly, you'll want to send your detailed outline to one or two people who are qualified to evaluate your planned strategy for the proposal. Before proceeding to the writing stage, you'll revise the outline based on the reviewer's feedback. Developing the outline is one of the most important parts of the proposal process. To ensure that you have enough time to develop a quality outline, a good rule of thumb is to reserve roughly 10 to 15% of the proposal development period for the outline process. Spending time deciding what you are going to say and where you are going to say it, and getting buy-in on your outline from senior staff early in the process, will save you time in the long run. Step 3 is to fill in any information gaps. After you receive feedback on your outline, you'll want to compare the detailed outline to the background information you've collected. The questions you need to ask are: 1. Do I have all the information I need to address every part of the outline? Second, is the information I have gathered up to date? This might include information about the organization's budget, staff size, or recent accomplishments. Third, is there any information I need from others either inside or outside the organization before I proceed to the writing phase? Depending on your answers, you may need to request additional information from colleagues and partners or conduct online research. After you have collected, or at least requested, the information you need, go back to your outline and see if any of this new information should be incorporated into your annotated outline. A second tip is to set up your folder system for storing background material before you begin writing. This includes creating a folder in your shared workspace labeled Background Research or Background Materials. In this folder, store all the source information for the proposal. This might include annual reports, journal articles, government statistics, and links to websites. In addition, we recommend having a separate folder for the solicitation and any related proposal guidance. Why do we put so much emphasis on the outline phase? There are several reasons. An outline forces you to clarify your thinking and define your strategy. It allows you to collect feedback early in the process about the direction of your proposal, when it is easier to revise your approach. It makes writing faster and easier because you never face a blank page. It keeps the proposal writing group on track by highlighting key elements the proposal must cover, making it more likely that the final product will be compliant and responsive to the funder's guidelines. Now that the outline is done, you are ready for the fourth step, which involves writing the first draft. The annotated outline provides the underlying framework for the proposal. If you've done a thorough job at preparing the outline, the proposal should almost write itself. Your first draft, just like your outline, will be built in stages. First, you'll write your topic sentences, which will indicate what each paragraph will be about. Then you'll write the paragraphs, and then finally, you'll make any necessary adjustments to the order of the paragraphs to complete a section. The first draft always takes longer to prepare than subsequent drafts. Although you'll be guided by your annotated outline, it still takes a lot of time to write the draft because you'll be writing complete paragraphs for the first time. In later drafts, the process will be faster because you'll be revising text instead of creating it from scratch. How long does it take to create a first draft? If your proposal development period is 6 weeks long, reserve at least 1.5 weeks to prepare the first draft. The fifth step is the review stage. This is where you ask for feedback on your draft. How many reviewers you recruit depends on several variables, including the size of your organization and the complexity of the proposal. However, plan on sharing the draft with at least 2 individuals who are qualified to evaluate it. These individuals could be senior staff at your organization or consultants who are subject matter experts. It's important to collect as much feedback as you can because the first draft is the best time to make major course corrections. If the proposal is off target, you need to know this as soon as possible. Too much feedback can be overwhelming, so recruit no more than 5 or 6 people to review the first draft. With each subsequent draft, the review groups should get smaller. By the time you reach the final draft, you should not be undertaking major revisions. At this stage, you might choose just 1 or 2 people to complete the review, asking them to check for overall cohesiveness and clarity of the content. The sixth step is to repeat the write and review cycle as many times as the proposal schedule allows, so it is not a single step, but a repeating one. Each review period should be short, roughly 2 days in length, with the writing cycles becoming progressively shorter. We suggest giving reviewers a relatively short review period because we found that if you give them a week, they will sit on the proposal for 6 days and then start their review, often turning their comments in late. So, A best practice is to schedule the review period in advance, getting the reviewers to commit to a particular 2 or 3 day time period, and then holding them to it. We said earlier that the first draft will take about a week and a half to prepare for a 6-week proposal development period. For later drafts, you can expect the writing periods between each review to shrink from about 1.5 weeks for the first draft to 1 week for the second draft to just a couple of days between the second and third drafts. Before the final review, ideally, the proposal should be sent to an editor for copy editing. Finally, the day before the submission, block off the day for last-minute edits and assembly of the final proposal package. So, to summarize the process, the first step is to prepare the proposal outline by adding the main headings to your document. Second, develop your outline by inserting prompts from the solicitation as well as the details of what you intend to cover in each section. Third, check that you have the background information you need to support your outline, filling in any gaps before you start writing. Fourth, write your first draft. Like the outline, this should be done in stages, first adding the topic sentences, then fleshing out the paragraphs. Fifth, send your proposal draft to senior staff and subject matter experts for their feedback. The sixth step is to rinse and repeat. Go through as many write and review cycles as your proposal schedule allows, factoring in the complexity of the proposal. A final tip is to plan your proposal schedule in a way that leaves room for dates to slip. No proposal schedule stays exactly on track, so it's a good idea to pad the schedule with extra time around key dates. If you think it will take you a day to incorporate feedback from the first review, consider doubling that time to ensure that, if your estimate is off, you'll still stay on schedule for the submission. And that's it! That's a 6-step process for preparing a grant proposal. Thanks for watching. If you would like to learn more about how to research potential funders, write grant proposals, and manage the process, please visit us at peakproposals.com.